Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Today, our group will present on the role of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong as the head of the state of Malaysia. Malaysia practices a constitutional monarchy where royal traditions are combined with democratic principles. In this system, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong symbolize unity, harmony, and political stability. His powers are defined and limited by the federal constitution, and he arranges but does not rule, acting as a constitutional and symbolic leader rather than an absolute ruler. His main duties include appointing the Prime Minister, granting royal assent to laws, safeguarding the federal constitutions, and serving as the supreme commander of the armed forces. One of the most important roles of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is serving as the head of Islam for the Federation as stated in Article 3(5) of the Federal Constitution. Islam is the official religion of Malaysia, while other religions may be practiced freely. In this role, he promotes peace, tolerance, and unity and participates in major Islamic events such as Maulidur Rasul. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong also serves as the head of Islam in the federal territories, namely Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya, and Labuan. He oversees Islamic affairs such as mosque, Islamic education, zakat administration, and Sharia law with the assistance from JAKIM to ensure effective administration. Furthermore, he acts as the head of Islam in state without hereditary rulers including Penang, Malacca, Sabah, and Sarawak by approving the appointment of the state mufti and members of the state Islamic Religious Council. At the federal level, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong appoint key Islamic leaders such as the chairman of MKI and the Director General of JAKIM, ensuring integrity and strong leadership in Islamic affairs. Lastly, he has the authority to approve Islamic laws and fatwas for the federal territories, ensuring compliance with the federal constitutions and promoting justice and social harmony in Malaysia.
First, the appointment of the Prime Minister. According to Article 43(2)(a) of the Federal Constitution, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong has the authority to appoint the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister must be a member of the Dewan Rakyat who, in the opinion of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, is likely to command the confidence of the majority of members of Parliament. Normally, this decision is straightforward because the leader of the party with the most seats is appointed. However, during a hung parliament or political crisis, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong plays a crucial role. His Majesty may meet party leaders or examine statutory declaration to determine who can form a stable government. Second, the appointment of the cabinet. After appointing the Prime Minister, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong appoints other ministers on the advice of the Prime Ministers, as stated in Article 43(2)(b). These ministers are selected from members of either House of Parliament. This reflects the principle of constitutional monarchy, where the Yang di-Pertuan Agong acts on advice, while the cabinet is collectively responsible to Parliament. This process ensures that the head of state remains politically neutral while the elected government carries out its duties. Third, the role as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Under Article 41 of the Federal Constitution, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is the Supreme Commander of the Malaysian Armed Forces. This role is both symbolic and constitutional, showing that the military is loyal to the nation and the crown, not to any political party. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong also appoints the Chief of Defence Forces based on recommendation from the Armed Forces Council. This ensures that military leadership remains professional, non-political, and disciplined. Finally, emergency powers. Article 150 of the Federal Constitution allows that Yang di-Pertuan Agong to proclaim a state of emergency if there is a serious threat to national security, public order, or the economy. An emergency can even be declared if there is a potential threat. Although the Yang di-Pertuan Agong usually acts on advice of the cabinet, this power is vital in protecting the country during extraordinary situations.
The first constitutional function is as the supreme head of the federation on Article 32. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong YDPA is the supreme head of the federation under Article 32 of the Federal Constitution and holds the highest constitutional position in Malaysia. As head of state, the YDPA symbolizes national sovereignty, unity, dignity, and authority, and has precedence over all branches of the government. Malaysia practices a unique rotating monarchy where the YDPA is elected by the Conference of Rulers from among the 9 Malay rulers for a 5-year term. The second is principle of acting on advice, which is on Article 40(1). Under that article, the Federal Constitution, the YDPA, must act in accordance with the advice of the Cabinet or a designated minister. The rule safeguards democracy by making the Cabinet, led by the Prime Minister, politically accountable and by preventing the misuse of royal authority. Accordingly, the YDPA carries out key functions such as appointing ministers, dissolving parliament, and giving royal assent to laws based on the government advice. However, Article 40(2) grants the YDPA limited discretionary powers, including appointing the Prime Minister, refusing the dissolution of Parliament, and convening the Conference of Rulers. The third one is discretionary powers on Article 40(2). This article stated that the YDPA has limited discretionary powers that allow him to act without the advice of the Cabinet or a minister. These powers are crucial for maintaining political stability and protecting the integrity of Malaysia's constitutional system. The most significant discretionary power is the appointment of the Prime Minister, where the YDPA determines who is most likely to command the confidence of the majority in the Dewan Rakyat. This is particularly important in situations such as a hung parliament or when a Prime Minister resigns or loses parliamentary support. Additionally, the YDPA may refuse a request to dissolve parliament if it is not in the nation's best interest and may convene the Conference of the Rulers to discuss matters of national or royal importance. Overall, these discretionary powers highlight on maintaining between monarchy and democracy.
Okay, now we move to legislative function. Yang di-Pertuan Agong have a crucial function in implementation of legislative body. Firstly, YDPA have the power of assent as Article 66 that mention bills passed by both houses require YDPA assent to become law. However, without 30 days response by Yang di-Pertuan Agong, the bill will automatically become law. And then secondly, Yang di-Pertuan Agong also have a power to address Parliament by delivering the royal address at the opening of Parliament. On this other end, outline government policy and also legislative. Next, appointment of senator Dewan Negara also part of Yang di-Pertuan Agong function in legislative, as the case of appointing 2 senator of federal territories and others on the advice of Prime Minister. Furthermore, ensure representation of professionals and public service figure. Finally, Yang di-Pertuan Agong also have the power to declare emergency as reformed under Article 150 and also allow government to act swiftly during crisis.
In conclusion, the YDPA plays a vital role in ensuring Malaysia remains a nation built on unity, justice, and harmony. Through his religious executives, constitutional and legislative functions, His Majesty symbolizes the balance between monarchy and democracy, guiding the nation with wisdom and dignity.